9/11, at least the evidence for what has happened, it seems that I have known and many people who have researched what has happened is finding out. And it's not only 9/11, it's so many different things as we're moving, or we're into a time frame where, well, the truth seems to be coming out. And well, September 11th was a very emotional, saddening day that a lot of people can remember where they were that morning of the day. I remember. And then we hear information that, well, Al-Qaeda, Osama bin Laden, weapons of mass destruction, you know, so many of those different words throughout the years. But the jig is up. We are finding out what is happening within reality. At least that is to say, we are finding the evidence for what is happening. And that's what is used in investigations, the word evidence, trials. You go to a court case, how many times would that word evidence be used? And how many times was the word evidence used in the investigation for September 11th? The answer is 0, because there hasn't been one as of yet. Yet many people are concerned about what happened on that date. They don't believe the official story, nor should they, when they critically look at what really happened. And it just wasn't even 9/11. I mean, the economic system, the monetary system, so many different things are coming into pass right now. What I decided to do was a YouTube search for Bill Clinton on 9/11. See what our former president happened to say. And well, I found an interesting video, and I'm going to quote what was said within that particular video. Quote, "What are you screaming about? Let him talk," end quote. And there was someone talking about asking for an investigation within the September 11th attacks. It was hard to hear, but I was able to hear that part of it anyway. And well, going back to what Mr. Clinton said, quote, "Are you one of those it's an inside job guys? Well, let me tell you something. The great thing, first, Hillary agrees we should end the war," end quote. The crowd was cheering, and well, this seemed to be a press conference during Hillary's campaign. Moving on, quote, "But we've heard from you now, you hear from me. I let you be rude and interrupt me, scream at the top of your lungs. 9/11 was not an inside job, it was an Osama bin Laden job. With 19 people from Saudi Arabia, they murdered 3,000 Americans and other foreigners, including over 200 Muslims, and we look like idiot folks denying that the people who murdered our fellow citizens did it when they are continuing to murder people all around the world. So I heard you, now go away," end quote. Well, I'm not going away. I don't know if that gentleman who was speaking was going away. I know there was another different YouTube video or another former speech where, well, someone was talking about Bohemian Grove and, well, they escorted him away. And, well, I'm saying escorted as in, yeah, you know. Nonetheless, it seems as if we're not allowed to question the official story. Jesse Ventura has talked big about this. Because what I want to know is, like he wants to know, is answers for what really happened. And I know many of you people not only want them, but you deserve to have the answers. Well, let's look at this speech again a second time. And he started off by stating, "Are you one of those inside job guys?" And he said that by stating, "Are you one of those crazy people?" To get the people, let him know that, hey, I'm saying he is not. And then he said, "Well, let me tell you something." And then he changed the great thing. Well, first, Hillary agrees we should end the war. And of course the crowd cheered because everyone wants peace. Everyone wants to see the war come to an end. And of course this war was because of September the 11th. Now I don't know if Hillary would have ended the war. We've seen so many broken promises before. But I think this was stated to get the crowd on his side. But moving on. And he said, "We've heard from you, now hear from me," which is good. Okay, that's right. That's what we want to do. We heard you were rude and interrupt me. Once again, trying to degrade the questioner, screaming at the top of his lungs. And well, sometimes in order for people to hear you, you have to scream at the top of your lungs. Mentioning that it was not an inside job, it was an Osama bin Laden job. No proof or evidence to the reason why. Well, I guess Miss Rice shortly after gave us a video of Osama bin Laden afterwards. He even signed something with his right hand, even though he is clearly a left-handed person. Very, very interesting. And there's no proof amongst the issue. There was even one person who had a video that, well, Obama is Osama. Interesting thing is Obama is a southpaw. He's left-handed. Maybe back then they figured out, wait a second, they might figure this out. We had Obama right on his right hand. Well, let's get somebody else who's a left-handed person. I'm not saying he was, I'm just saying I don't know what really, really happened. And speaking of Obama, well, I did a search for Obama on 911, and well, he had a speech on there too, and well, I'm going to quote that also. I am aware that there is still some who would question or even justify the offense of 911. But let us be clear, Al-Qaeda killed nearly 3,000 people on that day. The victims were innocent men, women, and children from America and many other nations who had done nothing to harm anybody, yet Al-Qaeda chose to ruthlessly murder these people, claim credit for the attack, and even now states their determination to kill on a massive scale. We have affiliates in many countries and they're trying to expand their reach. These are not opinions to be debated, these are facts to be dealt with, end quote. They are not opinions to be debated, but facts to be dealt with. Why can't we debate it? As Jesse Ventura, we're not supposed to ask questions about the September 11th attacks. Well, I have questions like Charlie Sheen, and I want answers. As far as I know, I've heard no remarks from Obama on Charlie Sheen's questions to the president. I was not surprised for that to be the case. And these are facts to be dealt with. Well, I want to deal with the facts, but I want the facts that are true facts. And even there he said that these people claim credit for the attacks. Do you mean you are giving them the credit for it? Because, like I said, I'm confused. I want to know what really, really happened on that event. But what's very interesting is both the presidents mentioned there was 3,000 plus people being killed. And that's an issue. That's something we don't want. If you have a problem with people being killed, good. Because that's something I do have a problem with also. Yet if I look at statistics on the Iraq War, I can see that between 95,000 and 103,000 civilians were killed. Civilians. As far as war soldiers are concerned, the number is 4,000 troops dead and 30,000 wounded. These are stats. The numbers are greater than 3,000. And these numbers that I just told you about, well, they're even greater too, because you got the Afghanistan war. I don't know if it's going to count other troops, the Canadian troops, any other countries that are in. But it's not only that, it's all these other things that are going on today. We have so many deaths caused by bankers. Now, these ones are harder to find out because, well, I mean, they just want to get so rich. And, well, obviously, we've seen the financial crisis in 2008. We bailed them out. We bailed the bankers out because, well, they were lending so much money at high interest rates. And this is what's happened. How many people have been dead because of this issue, because of high stress within the monetary system? They committed suicide maybe. Maybe they murdered somebody to get money, to get assets that they need, or because they were having financial troubles. There's so many different things that are killing people. Not only that, but the economy itself, that same economy that they say is recovering because we have obesity problems, you know, the foods like the Big Macs at McDonald's, all of these fast food restaurants, all of the GMOs they put in foods, even alcohol and soda, tobacco. I mean, the list goes on and on. And, well, at least just stop promoting tobacco, which is good, but the commercials are still heavily shown for tobacco or for alcohol. Commercials are still on. Print, television, radio, they're still available. Heck, you'll even see bars that'll give you a shirt that will say Miller Lite on it. Interesting how they say the word light on a beer. But this isn't about that, it's about the jig being up. We're finding this information out, and like I say, there's more than just the 911 attacks. Like I said, the economy, the jig is up about that. We know how money is created. We know. At least those who have searched for the issue and have found documentaries like Money Has Debt, Money Masters, the Zeitgeist series, they have found out how money is created. We know how the system is designed for the rich to get richer and the poor to get poorer. This information is so much of this. There's a lot of it. We know HAARP exists. We know it can modify the weather, and we know they're very secretive, there being the federal government. That's all I need to say about HAARP. We know that you are still passing bills, even though they're bills that people do not want. I'm referring to the healthcare bill. Now, maybe people wanted it and I didn't get the stats. Heck, I don't know. But I know within the community around here, it was heavily favored against the bill. And even the regular people whom are labeled to be clueless or a sheep or not awake, even a lot of them didn't like the bill. So if that's the case, why did it still pass? It's very interesting. And there's so much more. And it'd be a 50, 70, 100-minute video if I went over a lot more of it. And there's a lot of stuff you know that I've missed, and even a lot of stuff that you know what's been done that I don't, or at least I don't yet. Yet we look at what's going on. We know the jig is up. And well, I've been talking a lot on here about the Mayan calendar and consciousness, and well, how at the midway point, big events are available to us, especially when you look back after the fact. So we look back after the fact for what happened in 2010. What's it going to be? I think it's going to be the jig is up. And what's the reaction from the action of all of this stuff coming towards us? A massive explosion of exposure to what's going on within the system. What's the reaction on the action of many people day by day, week by week, finding out this system? We'll see. I'm not going to say what the action or what the reaction is going to be, but I think it's going to result to being the jig being up. We know what you did. When I look back after the fact on stuff like September 11th and any of these negative things, I realize we cannot erase the past. That's something you can't do. It's all about the now. You're living in the moment and working towards the future. And I would so love to totally forget about 911. I would so love to forget about how we've been enslaved within this dollar system. But right now, I can't, nor will I want to. The reason for this is because we have to deal with these issues first, resolve these issues. Because once we can resolve 911, once we can resolve the monetary system and so many of these dangerous things going on, then I will love to forget them. Totally love, but right now I can't. And I'm at the point in my life where I need to know what has happened, and I need to see positive changes taking place within this world. I'm not picky on the changes as long as they're positive. That's the only pickiness I have towards the changes. You could say, well, Derek wants the Venus Project. Heck, it sounds like a good idea, but if that's not it, I don't care, as long as it's positive. If we can have a monetary money system that's positive some way, somehow, so be it. I'll love that. But right now, the system we have is negative, and I hate it. We need to make changes. And it's the people, us people that are, well, we're going to have to make the changes. I wish I could say this is the step-by-step procedures that are needed to be taken towards making these changes, but I can't do that. I can't. But I am getting tired of hearing presidents stating, oh, you're crazy to question 911. Don't debate it. That drives me nuts. Thank you everybody for watching. I look forward to reading all of your comments, and have yourself a magnificent day. Bye-bye.